Appearance versus reality. Is experience always the same as what's truly real? Sometimes things seem one way on the surface, but are actually very different underneath. This concept can apply to objects, people, or even situations. Let's explore this idea in simple terms. When we talk about appearance, we mean how something looks or seems on the outside. Reality, on the other hand, is the truth that lies beneath the surface. These two things don't always match. For example, imagine looking at a dessert that appears delicious. It's beautifully decorated, and its colors make your mouth water. But when you take a bite, you realize it doesn't taste good at all. The appearance promised one thing, but the reality turned out to be very different. This idea doesn't only apply to objects, it applies to people too. Think about someone you meet who seems very friendly and kind at first. You might think they're a great person to know, but over time, their actions may not match their words. They might be pretending to be nice for their own reasons. This is another example of how appearance and reality can differ. Sometimes we also misjudge situations by focusing too much on appearance. Imagine seeing someone sitting alone at a party. You might assume they're lonely or don't want to be there. But in reality, they might be perfectly content, enjoying some quiet time, or just taking a break. Our first impressions often come from what we see, but they aren't always accurate. This gap between how things seem and how they really are has been a major theme in stories, art, and philosophy. In literature, many famous works explore this idea. Think about fairy tales. Something may appear magical or safe, but actually be dangerous, like a witch disguised as a kind old woman. These stories remind us to look beyond appearances and question what's truly real. Philosophy has also explored this topic deeply. Plato, a well-known philosopher, told a story about a cave. In it, people live in a cave and only see shadows on the wall. They believe the shadows are real because it's all they've ever known. But if one person leaves the cave and sees the outside world, they realize the shadows were only appearances. The real world is much larger and more complex. This story shows how people can mistake appearances for reality when they don't have the full picture. Even science addresses this idea. At a glance, the earth looks flat when we stand on it, but we know it's round. The sun appears to move across the sky, but in reality, it's the earth that's moving. These examples show that what we see can differ from what is true when we dig deeper and learn more. The difference between appearance and reality also plays a role in how we judge other people. People often present themselves in a certain way, especially on social media. Someone might post photos that make their life look perfect, but behind those images, they could be dealing with stress, sadness, or other struggles that aren't visible. That's why it's important not to compare yourself too much to what you see online. People often show only a small part of their real life. This contrast also affects trust. If someone appears honest, but isn't, it can damage relationships. Imagine a person who always says the right things to make you believe they care about you, but later, you realize their actions don't match their words. This can be painful because you trusted the surface without knowing the truth underneath. Another clear example is advertising. Companies often make their products look better than they are. A fast food burger might look big and perfect in a commercial, but when you order it, it's much smaller and messier. That's a simple, clear case of appearance not matching reality. So, why do we focus so much on appearance? It's partly because our senses are built to notice what's on the surface. What we see, hear, and feel is immediate and easy to process. It takes more effort and time to uncover the truth. For example, understanding someone's personality takes longer than noticing how they dress. That's why people often make quick judgments based on appearance. But while appearances can sometimes mislead, they're not always wrong. Often, what we see does reflect reality. If someone smiles and acts kindly toward you, chances are they are kind. If the sky looks cloudy and gray, it probably will rain. The key is not to rely only on appearance, but to dig deeper when needed. This idea teaches us to be patient and observant. Instead of jumping to conclusions based on how things look, we can take time to ask questions and gather more information. For example, if someone seems upset, rather than assuming they're angry with you, you can ask if everything is okay. You might learn they're just having a tough day, and it has nothing to do with you. Appearance versus reality is also about self-awareness. Sometimes we try to present ourselves in a certain way to others, even if it doesn't match how we feel inside. For example, you might pretend to be confident during a job interview even though you're nervous. That can be useful in some situations, but it's also important to be honest with yourself about who you are and how you truly feel. In the end, the idea of appearance versus reality encourages us to look deeper than the surface. It teaches us to question what we see, to think before we judge, and to search for the truth in every situation. Whether it's a person, a moment, or an experience, there's often more going on than what we first notice. By staying curious and thoughtful, we can better understand the reality behind the appearance. Technology versus nature. Technology symbolizes human innovation, tools and systems developed to solve problems and simplify life. Nature, in contrast, represents the world as it exists without human influence. Forests, oceans, animals, and the natural rhythms of the environment. Both technology and nature are essential to human life, yet they often appear to be in conflict. Technology is centered on progress and problem solving. It has reshaped how we live, work, and communicate, from electricity and medicine to smartphones and the internet. It has made our lives more convenient and interconnected. For instance, video calls allow people to maintain relationships across continents, and breakthroughs in healthcare have extended life expectancy and improved quality of life. One of technology's greatest strengths lies in its ability to solve problems quickly and efficiently. It provides solutions to challenges that would otherwise be difficult or impossible to overcome. For example, satellites help predict weather patterns, enabling communities to prepare for natural disasters. Renewable energy technologies also aim to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and combat climate change. However, technology comes with its own set of drawbacks. While it brings innovation and convenience, it can also lead to overdependence, environmental degradation, and a growing disconnection from the natural world. For example, the extraction of resources used in electronics contributes to habitat destruction. In addition, excessive screen time can negatively affect mental health and reduce the time people spend outdoors. Nature, by contrast, embodies simplicity, balance, and a deep connection to the earth. It provides life's essentials: clean air, fresh water, food, and a stable climate. Nature also supports our well-being in unique ways that technology often cannot. Simply spending time in a forest or near the ocean can reduce stress, elevate mood, and improve physical health. These benefits come from being present in the natural world. Nature also teaches us about harmony and resilience. Ecosystems thrive on interconnected relationships where every element has a role. For example, forests depend on the interplay between trees, plants, animals, fungi, and microbes to maintain balance and support life. This interconnectedness reminds us that we are part of a larger system and that our actions carry consequences for the environment. Yet nature is not without its challenges. It can be unpredictable and powerful. Natural disasters such as hurricanes, droughts, and earthquakes remind us that nature operates on its own terms, often beyond human control. This unpredictability is one reason why technology has evolved to help us adapt to and protect ourselves from nature's extremes. The relationship between technology and nature can sometimes feel like a clash between opposing forces. Technology has the power to disrupt natural systems, while nature frequently pushes back against technological expansion. For example, deforestation to make space for cities or farmland disrupts ecosystems and leads to a loss of biodiversity. At the same time, nature responds with rising sea levels, shifting weather patterns, or species adapting to new conditions. However, technology and nature don't have to be enemies. They can work together in harmony. Many modern technologies are designed to cooperate with nature instead of opposing it. For example, green energy solutions like solar panels and wind turbines use natural resources to generate sustainable energy. Conservation technologies, such as drones that monitor wildlife or tools that clean up the oceans, use innovation to protect and restore the environment. This balance between technology and nature is also reflected in our personal lives. People might use fitness apps to track outdoor runs or install smart thermostats that help save energy at home. These tools blend technology with nature-focused goals, making it easier to live in ways that respect both forces. At the same time, it's important to take a step back from technology and reconnect with nature. While smartphones and social media keep us constantly connected to the digital world, they can also draw us away from the natural one. Taking time to unplug and spend time outdoors can restore a sense of balance, offering peace and perspective that technology alone cannot provide. Cultural views on technology and nature also influence how we manage this relationship. In some cultures, technological advancement is considered the highest goal, a way to control and improve the world. In others, there is a stronger focus on living in harmony with nature, prioritizing traditional knowledge and sustainability over rapid innovation. Both perspectives have valuable lessons to offer about how to maintain equilibrium between these forces. One approach to bridging the gap is by thinking about how technology can deepen our connection to nature instead of replacing it. For example, mobile apps that identify plants or birds can help people learn more about the environment. Virtual reality experiences of distant ecosystems can inspire appreciation and a desire to protect the natural world. Ultimately, the tension between technology and nature is about finding balance. Technology represents human creativity and the desire to improve our lives, while nature grounds us, reminding us of our origins, our limitations, and our dependence on the earth. Both are vital, and neither should be overlooked. By using technology responsibly while staying connected to nature, we can create a world where these two powerful forces coexist and complement one another. Whether through sustainable practices, eco-friendly innovations, or simply spending more time outdoors, we can respect both the tools we've created and the natural world that sustains us. Finding that balance isn't always easy, but it's crucial for our health, our happiness, and the future of our planet. Being and nothingness. What does it mean to exist? And what does it mean not to exist? These questions may sound simple, but they are among the most difficult to answer. Philosophers, writers, and thinkers have spent centuries trying to make sense of them. Let's explore these ideas in a way that's easy to understand without making things too complex. Being refers to existence. It's the condition of something being real, present, or alive. For example, a tree, a person, or even an abstract idea like love all qualify as being. When we say something is, we're referring to its state of existence. We encounter being every day, often without thinking about it, like when you see the sky, listen to music, or feel the sun's warmth. These are all experiences of things that are. Nothingness, by contrast, is the absence of being. It's the state where something doesn't exist. Picture an empty room. No people, no furniture, no sound, just emptiness. Now take that concept even further. Imagine absolute nothingness, where there is no air, no space, not even time. This idea is much harder to grasp because we are so accustomed to thinking in terms of things that exist. Nothingness feels foreign because it's the complete opposite of everything we understand. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre wrote extensively about being and nothingness. He believed that nothingness plays a central role in what it means to be human. According to him, humans aren't just objects that exist like rocks or trees. We have the capacity to reflect on who we are, who we want to become, and who we are not. This means we're constantly aware of nothingness, even if we don't realize it. Let's use an example to explain. Imagine you're sitting in a cafe, waiting for a friend. You see people chatting, drinking coffee, reading. These are all instances of being. They exist in that moment. But then you notice your friend hasn't arrived yet. That absence is an experience of nothingness. You're aware they're not there, and that awareness affects your mood. You might feel disappointed, frustrated, or concerned. Even though nothingness isn't visible or tangible, it still impacts how you feel. Sartre also believed that humans differ from other things because we can imagine what doesn't exist. For example, if you have a job you dislike, you can imagine a different life where you're doing something else. That imagined life doesn't exist, at least not yet. It represents a form of nothingness. But thinking about it can motivate you to change. Sartre argued that this ability to imagine and give life meaning is what makes human existence special. We don't simply accept the world, we think about how it could be. This leads us to another major concept: freedom. Sartre believed that because we are aware of both being and nothingness, we are also free to choose. If you feel trapped in a routine, you can decide to try something different, take up a new hobby, travel, or change careers. Making such choices is how we create meaning in our lives. But freedom can also be intimidating. If we are truly free, then we're also responsible for the decisions we make. That responsibility can feel overwhelming because if things don't turn out the way we hope, there's no one else to blame. The concept of nothingness also helps us understand loss. When someone we love dies, their absence becomes a form of nothingness in our lives. We can feel the space they used to occupy, even though they're no longer with us. This kind of nothingness can be deeply painful, but it also shows how important that person was. It reminds us that being and nothingness are always linked. They shape one another in ways we don't always notice. Another way to explore being and nothingness is through creativity. When an artist stares at a blank canvas, that's a moment of nothingness. There's nothing there. Yet, But as they begin to paint, they bring something into being. The same is true for a writer with an empty page or a musician starting with silence. Creativity is the process of turning nothingness into something meaningful. The idea of nothingness also leads to profound questions about life and death. What happens when we die? Do we enter a state of nothingness, or is there something beyond? Different people have different answers, shaped by their beliefs and experiences. Some see death as a return to nothingness. Others believe in an afterlife or some form of continued existence. These questions may never have definitive answers, but thinking about them can deepen our appreciation for life. In daily life, being and nothingness appear in small ways too. Think about a plan you were excited for that got canceled, a trip you never took, or a missed opportunity. The nothingness of what could have been can leave you feeling sad or disappointed, but it can also encourage you to value the plans that do come together. It shows how life is always a mixture of being and nothingness, presence and absence, hope and loss. Being and nothingness are not just philosophical abstractions. They are part of how we experience the world. We live surrounded by things that exist, but we're also constantly aware of what's missing, what might be, and what never was. That awareness adds richness and depth to our lives. It's what makes us human. We don't merely exist. We reflect on existence and imagine what lies beyond it. That ability to think, to imagine, to question, it's both a gift and a challenge, and it shapes everything we do. Work-life balance. Work-life balance is about creating harmony between the demands of your job and the time and energy you devote to your personal life. Work includes activities like meeting deadlines, attending meetings, and reaching professional goals. Life, on the other hand, involves spending time with family and friends, enjoying hobbies, relaxing, and pursuing personal development. Finding a balance between these two areas is essential for overall well-being, though it's often easier said than done. For most people, work is a major part of life. It provides financial support, daily structure, and often a sense of purpose. Some people see their careers as a passion or a source of pride, while for others, work is primarily a means of supporting themselves and their loved ones. In either case, work can consume significant time and energy, often leaving little space for personal activities. However, life beyond work is equally important. It's in our personal lives that we form relationships, explore interests, take care of our health, and enjoy the small joys of everyday living. Activities like spending time with family, exercising, reading, or simply relaxing help us recharge and give our lives meaning beyond just professional success. Without this personal time, we can start to feel burned out or disconnected from what really matters. The difficulty lies in how work and life often compete for our attention. Working long hours can reduce the time available for personal life. And similarly, taking care of responsibilities like raising a child or looking after a parent can make it harder to stay focused at work. When one side takes over, it can create a sense of imbalance, leading to stress, fatigue, or dissatisfaction. Achieving work-life balance is about finding a middle ground. It doesn't require an equal split of time between work and life. It's about focusing on what matters most at a particular time. For instance, during a busy season at work, you might need to dedicate extra hours to finish a project. Later, you can prioritize rest or take a vacation to recover. One effective way to support work-life balance is by setting boundaries. This could involve leaving work at a set time each day or avoiding emails after work hours. For example, someone who values family dinners may choose to put their phone away during that time. Boundaries help carve out space for personal life and keep work from becoming overwhelming. Flexibility is another key aspect of work-life balance. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes one area needs more attention than the other. For example, a parent may have to take time off work to care for a sick child, or an employee may adjust their schedule to attend a family gathering. Being flexible allows people to respond to life's changing demands without becoming overly stressed. Employers also play a role in fostering work-life balance. Organizations that offer flexible working hours, remote work options, or generous leave policies make it easier for employees to meet both work and personal responsibilities. For instance, a company that lets parents work from home when necessary shows that it respects their personal needs just as much as their professional efforts. When workers feel supported in this way, they're often more motivated and productive. But achieving balance isn't just about cutting back on work hours. It's also about making smart use of your time. For example, someone who works fewer hours but spends all their free time doing chores may still feel off balance. It's important to set aside time for activities that bring you happiness and help you unwind, whether that's being with loved ones, practicing a hobby, or simply relaxing. Cultural expectations can also shape our experiences with work-life balance. In some cultures, long hours and constant availability are viewed as signs of commitment, making it harder to put personal life first. In other cultures, leisure time is emphasized more, with shorter work weeks or longer vacations. Becoming aware of these cultural norms and questioning them when needed can help both individuals and organizations build healthier attitudes toward work and life. Technology is another factor that complicates the balance. While tools like email and video conferencing have made remote work possible, they also blur the line between work and home life. It's easy to feel obligated to reply to work messages during evenings or weekends. Creating firm rules, like turning off notifications at a certain time, can help restore that boundary. It's also important to recognize that work-life balance looks different for everyone. People have different priorities and needs. For one person, balance might mean working fewer hours to be with family more often. For another, it might mean finding a job that aligns with personal values and passions. The key is figuring out what balance looks like for you and adjusting as your life evolves. Work-life balance isn't a one-time goal you reach and then forget. It's a continuous process. Our lives change, and so do our priorities. Someone early in their career might focus on building their skills and reputation, while someone later in life may prioritize spending time with loved ones or enjoying personal interests. Being willing to shift and adapt is part of maintaining a healthy balance. At its core, work-life balance isn't only about reducing stress, it's about building a meaningful and satisfying life. When we make time for both work and personal life, we're more likely to feel energized, fulfilled, and connected to the world around us. It's about recognizing that both work and life are important and finding ways to make room for each. In the end, work-life balance comes down to choices. It's about identifying what truly matters, setting boundaries to protect your time, and making room for the things that bring you joy and purpose. By staying aware of your priorities and remaining flexible, you can create a life that feels balanced, rewarding, and true to who you are.